50 years of hip-hop was recently celebrated. This prompted me to play back some of my childhood favorites. They were still, amazing tracks. They were filled with tight rhymes, hot beats, The difference is now I've seen the movie. I know the chapters to come, and I know how some of the characters' fates play out. All the tapes and CDs that I've accumulated, articles I've read, videos I've watched. This cool little thing called the internet that seems to be sticking around. These were tools that eventually stripped artists and media from creating a mystique around entertainers, giving us regular schmegulars a real-time, behind-the-scenes view of the entertainment industry. This can make us adore them more or potentially uncover how gangsta they are not. In a world defined by stereotypes and preconceived notions, today, we'll take a closer look at the unexpected truth. Dorks are more gangsta than gangstas. Psychological stability and mental fortitude aside, we all love a good underdog story. A story of triumph, overcoming odds, taking risks, and climbing out of a tough situation. It builds a relationship between us and the products we buy, services we accept, or in this case, humans we like, until it affects us or the people we love. Today, we'll hear about 4 dorks, more gangsta than gangstas. Let's kick it off. We've all heard that people abusing drugs is a real concern. We need to have the users accountable and also the dealers. And this first peddler is also a 2024 presidential candidate, Vivek Ramaswamy. Rhymes with cake. Now under the eye of the public for buying a drug that failed 4 clinical trials, renaming the drug in preparation to reintroduce it to the stock market. That actually doesn't sound terrible so far, right? It's kind of normal baseline hustler stuff. Not until I tell you that then he had his mother, who is a doctor, reinterpret the results of the failed drug to make it appear as a success by rigging the data, and that brought him $175 million. Now, none of this is stated to sway your opinion or your vote. I just thought it was pretty ballsy. Dare I say, gangsta? I remember when 50 Cent first showed up, he said, "I got a meal at the deal and I'm still on the grind." And these have got to be the lyrics running through Colin Thomson's head. If you don't know, Colin Thomson, he ran an advertising agency. It was called Cast Media. Cast Media paid well-known podcasts like theovon, Brendan Schaub of former UFC fame, and Jim Cornette of WWF. The podcasters were paid by Thomson for doing ad reads. But one day the payments for these ad reads, they just stopped. And when they were beginning to get late, communication was made from Colin to these podcasters. They said, "Hey, keep it going and the payments are gonna resume soon." They never did. You guessed it, they never did. At the same time, the podcasters are kind of realizing it ain't happening. You're not gonna get paid. Cast Media is facing bankruptcy and getting absorbed by this other company called Podcast One. Now the podcasters are offered a deal through Podcast One with new terms, new agreements, and in the gangstest manner possible, an opportunity to earn back the money they were already owed from Cast Media. I think that one gets the thug life glasses on that one. That is, prime. If I was Italian, I'd do that thing and say something in a different language. But that's all I got. Last up, this is where gangsta, or not last up, I got another one. Gangsta and dork worlds are gonna blend here. Comparisons get even more intense. It was 2014. Most of us were unfamiliar with the name Martin Shkreli. But in 2015, when Martin Shkreli obtained exclusive rights to an HIV medicine, he increased the pill from $13.50 a pill to $750 a pill. And so the world kind of unanimously hated this guy for $49 million on a product that was supposed to help people, not so much turn a profit. A lot of sick and dying people were affected, but pretty fucking gangster, right? Shkreli doesn't end there either. He was then named the highest bidder of the Wu-Tang album, Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. If you're not familiar, this was an album that had one copy, and it was going to be auctioned off to the highest bidder. Over $1 million was paid. I forget the exact amount. But the aftermath of the purchase is what put Shkreli on my radar. He'd go on social media, just ranting to the members of the Wu-Tang Clan, up to the point of threatening Ghostface Killer. He said he was going to take him right off the whole album if he didn't apologize for talking poorly of him. The guy's nuts, man. I gotta hand it to the guy. You know, he would go on to be, he gets sent to prison later on, but it was unrelated fraud case. There you go. And the Wu-Tang album would be seized in the mix of all that. Eventually, the album lands in the hands of a group investor. They pay $4 million for the album. And Shkreli laughed at the transaction. He stated, of course, I made an MP3 immediately, multiples, you know. And then he even joked further. He said, yeah, the case broke right away. My cat knocked it off the table. You know? So I guess there's that. I mean, like, just the awe of this guy. But, like, why don't we applaud him? Why don't we applaud him like the kid from the ghetto that turned his little bag of crack into a kilo of cocaine? Why don't we think he's as cool as the rappers holding up gun fingers, you know? Ba-ba-ba, pew pew. Too gangster, perhaps? You know, let's just think about it. Let's pretend there's this, what it takes to be a gangster checklist. Is his drug dealing tale not one of the highest earning? Is his millions and millions of dollars spent different than Young Thug's? Has he not served enough time in prison? Is his love for hip hop music not apparent? I mean, the guy spent $1.5 million on a rap CD, for Pac's sake. I feel his gangsterism is far exceeding those who willingly claim the title gangster. Not to mention talking reckless to one of the most notoriously dangerous groups in hip-hop history. Now, you can let me know what you think about Shkreli in the comments. Moving on. When I say Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, I think it's safe to say that most of us think of NWA. But me? I think of Jerry Heller's Gangsta-er, man. Jerry Heller and his story actually prompted this whole video. He saw an opportunity, and he capitalized. Could he have been more ethical? Yeah. Did he have to have people get taken advantage of in order for him to succeed? Yeah, he did. Did he milk this musical group for every possible penny and leave them with breadcrumbs with no concern of how it would affect the members? Absolutely. Is that gangsta? Oh, I wish I had that Dr. Dre soundboard right now. Hell yeah. Would have hit that bad boy 3 times. I mean, I think like when you get to the point rappers are talking about, just getting over on someone, as long as that someone isn't us, right? Bone Thugs and Harmony, one of my favorite groups of all time. Crazy Bone said in his first solo album, Thug Mentality, called The Dummy Man, right? They called me the Dummy Man. He said, I'm up early trying to slang my dope. The fiends, they get awfully mad when they go broke on dope, and it's really soap. Mm. Bars. Let me break that down. He's ripping off the crackhead person and selling them soap as if it was crack. What about Kendrick Lamar and Lil Wayne, Mona Lisa? Worst rhymes ever, but the thing is there. I see in this popping bottles, stunting, getting drunk with these. Then when they leave, they get followed, fall asleep with that, and really don't know much about her. Then she let us in. We take all of your, and when you wake up, she help you try to find it. Rude. Everybody's rude. You know what's nuts is I really like these songs, but just reading the lyrics, it does show its silliness. It's really odd to boast about some of this stuff. And imagine a world where Jerry Heller did an interview talking about how stupid NWA was, going on and on about how it was to, rob them for everything they had. Imagine Colin Thomson coming out like, fuck theovon. Imagine Vivek coming out with merch. I actually gotta give the keep it gangster, y'all, to Shkreli. He took it a step further, and he said that if he could go back in time, he would have increased the pill even more. In a world that loves to categorize individuals into boxes, these lines between dorks and gangsta are blurring. Heck, even the word gangsta doesn't mean gangsta anymore in like a quasi-traditional sense. It just means like cool, or it can reference a good job well done, But, if there's a dork that I missed, somebody that needs some respect in their name, leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. And remember, when you see a dork next time, shake his hand, give him the time of day, because he might be the most gangster person you ever met.